Hello and welcome to the All About Ability podcast. This podcast is sponsored by Kyle Financial and Strathclyde House Buyers. Kyle Financial are proud supporters of local communities and specialise in helping you protect what matters most. For your family, your lifestyle and even your income, they have it covered. Kyle Financial are now offering free wills, regardless of whether or not you need any other service. Go check them out on their website www.kyle-financial.co.uk or check them out on Facebook, Twitter or even Instagram. Strathclyde House Buyers are a local property solutions company who specialise in helping people sell their property quickly with no fees. If you or anyone you know are looking for a fast, stress-free sale, check them out on their website www.strathclydehousebuyers.com, on Facebook or on Instagram.
Right, mate, I'm all yours.
Brilliant. Well, see, as you were coming in here, you were like getting all sorts of people wanting selfies and that. Do you get that all the time now?
I'm not going to be out sitting and say I get it all the time, but it was actually funny because I told you we went out, we had a drink, pure name dropping, but with Lewis Capaldi on Sunday, we had his mates, and we were sitting at the Dirty Duchess in Finniston, and we were all sitting, and the first person that came over, he's obviously not waiting to stand up, but he's expecting, can I get a picture? And the boys went, Slaney, can I get a picture of you? So just the fact that somebody's recognised Slaney, but obviously Lewis had people coming up to that as well. But it does happen quite a bit now, mate. But as I say, I didn't mind it, like the work he's out there a day when we was coming in here. But always nice, mate. Like you turn on Twitter and you get abused constantly, but usually in the streets generally it's really good, and I love it, mate. I loved it as a football player as well. I really liked when fans came up to you and wanted to speak to you and wanted a photo with you. Like me and my missus lived in 5 minutes from Swindon's ground, so we would walk to games and we'd walk home. So when we were walking in for games, mate, like fans would basically walk next to you as you're walking up the road, and they'd chat away to you about the game and ask for pictures, and I love that, mate. I think when you do something like this, you've got that kind of responsibility that these guys, you know, whether it's football, people are paying your wages to come and watch you, or guys are watching your podcast, you know, kind of make a bit of money out of doing it. It's only right that you say thanks and you give them the time of day.
Definitely, mate. Was there a point where you started realising how big open goal was getting?
When Slaney came on, he told us how big it was getting with him being on it. Probably when we put the hydro text out, so we got invited to go to Still Game and we were sitting in the box watching it. might need to take us out. I'll need to ask him if we can keep us in, but we were sitting in the box and we'd had a few drinks, and again Slaney was like, "This is shite. We'd be miles better than this. We'd put on a better show than this." And he was like, "Put out a tweet saying, if we get 13,000 likes on this, we'll book the hydro." And so we were sitting at Still Game and we put the text out. I think it was like 10 minutes to go before the end of the show. We put the text out, and by an hour later there was 13,000 likes, and we were like, fuck, man. So then when we booked the hydro, I remember sitting in the house finally, because the hydro didn't want us to do the hydro. I don't think I've ever said this before. The hydro were like, you know what, a football podcast? They were like, nah, like no chances are getting to do the hydro. Why don't you just go and do the armadillo? And we were like, nah, not doing the armadillo, we're doing the hydro. We've put this tweet out. He says, we've got these numbers, this following, we'll fill it easy. And they were like, nah, we're not too sure. So I think they took like a bigger fee than they would usually took off people, because they were sceptical about us selling it out. And then, remember the morning, we were all in a group chat, we were all sitting, sending pictures of each other as it went live on sale. And then 6 hours later it was sold out. And we thought we'd be sitting there for months trying to get the tickets sold, but 6 hours that day it sold out. And then that's when I kind of thought, fuck me, man, how's it came to this?
That's amazing, like how quickly it's just sort of boomed that way. Like I remember watching you guys like ages ago, and your interviews or the one-on-ones were always like worth watching, and I always took a lot from it. It was like, it's just funny to watch how it's sort of developed into this sort of like cultural thing where everybody's, even the like I Can Boogie thing, and how that's all went really viral, and we're all talking about it like with the Euros and stuff. Like, is that sort of hard for you to take in, how much it's just spread across the country?
No, it's brilliant, mate. I love it. It's not hard to take in at all. Like, as I say, I'm so thankful, because I said just before I started doing this, I was delivering kitchens, I was working the night shift in the Royal Mail, which was fucking hard, mate. That's hard graft, man. Walking through Springburn at 11 o'clock. I couldn't drive at the time, so I was walking through steps to Springburn. Through Springburn at 11 o'clock at night to start my shift at 12, and then running back up the road because I wasn't training because I was doing the night shift. So that was the fitness that I was getting to keep fit to play for Peterhead at the weekend, running back up for the night shift, going to bed all day and then getting up and going to training at night. So it was tough, mate. So like, when we started Open Goal, I think one of your questions was, did I ever say getting this big? Nah, no way. Never thought we'd get this big. But now that it has, mate, it's like total embrace. I love it, mate. I actually really love my job, which is, I don't think a lot of people could probably say that. Involved in playing football, coaching, and then obviously talking about it through Open Goal. But it's not easy as well, mate. Like, people think we just turn up and talk a load of shite, but like you say, we're constantly coming up with new ideas. Like, what can we do? The boogie stuff, you know, I seen Andy Considine's video and I thought, especially with Slaney being on board, him being the type of guy that he is, he would really go for us, and he loved it. And again, it's been hard with COVID to try and come up with new ideas, because we've got loads of things that we want to do in terms of progressing the podcast, because it maybe has went a bit just the same old recently, but it's hard when you can't get into places that you want to get into and you want ideas that you want to do. So hopefully once all this gets passed and the new season comes ahead, that we can kick on again, because we have got loads of new ideas that we want to do, but it's just getting these restrictions lifted that we can go and do it.
Well, I think that's been a big thing with a podcast. Like, when I started this, I was doing all of it through Zoom, and you're kind of, it's frustrating because you want to meet people. And
Zoom's shite, mate. I hate it. It's the personal thing that makes it.
Yeah, definitely. Like, actually getting to talk to the person and get to know them a bit. Whereas Zoom, it's very much like, ask the question, get it answered, and then you're out of there. Yeah,
because even when we done Zoom, like, I'll be totally honest, we had big names on, like Ollie McBurney, Charlie Austin, and I couldn't wait for it to finish.
Mate, that David Turnbull one was hilarious.
He was on a sponsored silence, wasn't he, David Turnbull?
What was that, man? I don't know. That, like,
he wasn't talking, was he? I don't know if he was... he was lying in his bed, wasn't he?
Aye, I was like that.
But again, lovely guy. He was a great guy, David Turnbull. But it's daunting, mate, coming on. Like, he's a young guy. I think he was at Motherwell. Obviously, his move for Celtic came through, and you're asked to come on with 3 fucking idiots, basically, who talk a load of shite, and he knows that he's got a full career ahead of him. So I didn't expect David Turnbull to come on and be stupid and daft. So just the fact that he came on, kind of talked through the move, you know, it says a lot about him as a guy. So I was delighted to see him get his move, because we've talked about him on the podcast for years, and when you actually meet him, and he's such a humble, good guy. So it's great to see him doing so well for Celtic. But again, another good guy that's gave up his time to come on the podcast. I'm always grateful for people that do that. So anyone that does that, I like to see them going doing well.
Well, I'm grateful for you doing this, man. It's brilliant to actually have you here. Like I said, I've watched all your stuff, and see actually doing Open Goal. Like, you always talk about stories like from your Celtic days and all these times with canio and Gaveston and all that. But like, actually doing the Open Goal, what's been like a standout moment for you doing Open Goal, like, stories wise?
A standout, Ali McCoist was big, mate.
Ali
McCoist was big. I really enjoyed doing it up until I done Ali McCoist, and that day I thought, if you could get the right if you could get an Ali McCoist every week, this could be the best job in the world. I'd never met Ali McCoist before, and I was doing Gordon Strachan on the same day, who was my old manager, who used to slaughter us on a daily basis. So I was a wee bit apprehensive on that fuck, I need to message Gordon Strachan. He's going to think I'm this daft wee guy. Every question I'm thinking, why am I sitting answering questions to this guy who was hopeless that I used to shout at for years? But then on the other hand, the wee buzz that, Ali McCoist, man, like, that's a big name. See him on, I listen to him, I think he's brilliant on TalkSport. I think he's
definitely
the best in terms of media, football wise, because he's great between being factual and also not being in your face with big words. He speaks how we would speak, but also gets a laugh at it as well. So walked in straight away, Strachan, he slaughtered us for something. I can't remember what it was, but maybe my career or something. And then McCoy's pissing himself laughing, and straight away he's like, Si, how are you, buddy? I watch all loads of shite. I watch all your stuff. No, you don't. You've never watched it. But just the type of guy he was. And we sat and spoke, like, whenever he was in like a time slot that he had to be away for 2 hours or an hour and a half or whatever it was. And we sat and spoke for about 45 minutes, the 3 of us, before we'd even started the interview. And he was like, don't worry about the time slot. If I'm late for the next thing, I'm late for the next thing. Ended up sitting there for like 5 hours. The full day lasted between interviewing Strachan and McCoist. And he was just proper brand new. You know, in the stories, I was genuinely buzzing off his stories. And then even after that, Richard Gough, I tried to get Richard Gough, and he's like, Ali McCoist has told us to do your podcast. He thinks it'd be really good for us. And then I met him at the Scottish Cup draw. He's done Open Goal twice. He's done 2 interviews. He'd done a Rangers one, he'd done a Scotland one. And then even at the Scottish Cup draw, just the kind of guy he is, we were doing the rehearsal, and me and him had to pick the boys out. So he went first, and while he was doing it, I said in the rehearsal, is this how you used to pick your Rangers team? And he was pissing himself laughing. So I says to him, on rehearsal, bold as brass, I went, do you mind if I say that on camera? And he was like, of course I dunno. He's like, go ahead, fucking slaughter us. Like, I can laugh at myself. So on camera, I done it again. He pissed himself laughing. But so Ali McCoist, mate, he's. If I could sit and interview Ali McCoist every day, mate, I would do it. Like, I'm so envious at Alan Brazil because I think he just makes your job so easy. You know, when you get guys like that where he basically takes over the interview, mate, that's when you know you've got a great guest on.
Well, you're quite like that as well, though, really. You think about it?
Okay, it's because I'm constantly asking other people messages, and she doesn't let us speak in the house, mate. So when I'm on something like this, I just fucking talk non-stop.
I feel you that. No, because the thing with Alan McCoist is he's actually like really well respected on both sides. I feel like. Yeah.
He is. I always say he's the Rangers version of Tommy Burns.
Exactly. That's a really good way of putting it, because obviously I'm a Celtic fan, but I struggle to dislike him, even though I'm like. He you know, I made my dad cry a few times, so it's like you have that.
Why is that? Because he was texting your ma?
Hopefully not, man. I mean,
yes, handsome, don't he?
I'm like, I don't even know what to say to that. I don't know.
Because even with Ali, mate, like, you think he's older, maybe a wee bit heavier, but see when you see him face to face as well, he's just got that star quality, mate. He's gorgeous, eh? Like, see when you get up close to him, he smells amazing. His skin's always glowing, mate. He's just, yes, mate. Honestly, see when you get up close, he's a handsome guy. He's just got the full round package. But see on Tommy Burns as well, like, this is why I'm the way I am, mate. See when you say I talk like this, I'm a product of my environment, mate. Like, I'm sociable because he brought me up that way. And I think one of your questions is what's now missing for young people, and I think that's it. You know, coaching for me back in the day wasn't just about how good a player I can make you, it's how good a person I can make you first and foremost. He was there to make you a better person. That's why when Charlie Mulgrew comes on the podcast, mate, he could talk for us, because we were encouraged to talk to people. If you meet the cleaner in the hall, don't walk by her, don't say hi, stop, ask her how her day is, ask her what's going on in her life. Same with the chef, and the words that always stuck with me says, no, whether it's the guy in the front door or it's the CEO, treat them the exact same. Talk to them, look them in the eye and speak to them. He says, I'll get you a lot of places in life. And I've no doubt that the reason that this has been successful is because of Tommy Burns, 100%.
That's amazing. I mean, that's quite the compliment. He's obviously a big factor in your career, and he's the thing about that kind of thing is when you're saying it, like, we need to be, you know, it's almost having that sort of respectfulness for everybody. Like, you see that now with everything with the social media and stuff, where we're all kind of at each other's throats all the time. But guys like Tommy Burns and they were teaching the opposite of that. Yeah,
I mean, I'm not saying I'm the best guy in the world, but if you, I could be a horrible bastard at times, but I could tell you the kit man's wife's name at Peterhead, I could tell you his daughter's name, I've been for a pint with him, I could tell you the kit man's name, his wife's name, he's not got a wife, but what he does, what he drinks, I could tell you that, because these people are important. It's not about us 11 players that go on the pitch and play, it's about everyone at the football club. Directors, Harry, I know his full life story, his best mates with Billy Connolly, he comes and cooks, he's an example of this. He's a director who's a millionaire. He turns up at our training on a Wednesday night and cooks for us after we've been beat 5-0 on a Saturday for his club that he puts money into. He turns up on a Wednesday when we've been beat 5-0 and he cooks us dinner, and he sits and speaks to you about your life. They're my type of people in life, and that's what I encourage in younger people. Then I sit and look at your phone. I hate that in the dressing room. Don't sit and speak to each other. That's how you get on in life, being sociable and speaking to people. So I think that's gone for football massively, and it's coaches for me need to encourage it. Coaches need to bring that out in kids as their personality, because I think if you get a kid's personality out in them, it brings their football in tenfold as well.
Do you think the reason why that's not really here as much is because of the fact that, like, the old school mentality is very much like, you need to deal with yourself, and I'm the boss here, and you need to focus on what you're doing, and it's like very much, it seems like the culture's changed to where that style of management doesn't really work anymore. When you look at like Guardiola and Klopp and all that, they're very much like almost father figures to the squad. So it's like trying to encourage the idea that you need to sort of support the players more so than they had to back when Alex Ferguson was throwing shit at people.
Yeah, I get what you're saying in terms of that. I think football management now is very tough. You know, I think back in the days of, it was very much you pick your team, you pick your tactics. You were one way with every player. You know, you could be that hard disciplinarian, whereas now you need to treat 20 different boys 20 different ways, because it's all about getting to them personally. And what makes them tick, you know, how you get the best out of people. But then there's also that place where I think Guardiola and Klopp's got it, where don't cross the line. You know, Mario's goal, and if you cross that, then you'll not be there for very much longer. And I think that needs to be a thing. There needs to be a discipline there. You know, it can't just be, oh, I'm your mate all the time. It's not a popularity contest. I always say that a football manager's not a popularity contest, or a coach. You're there to help people, develop people in terms of, that's your job, you're there to make people better. So if that means with one guy you need to be that wee bit harder, then that's the way you need to be. But I do get what you're saying, it's like a social worker job being a coach.
Definitely.
Because like you say, kids at that age, younger age, are going through so many things right now, just now. Whereas what we were going through, you would never really speak about it. Whereas people, which is great, people are now willing to speak about it. So it's your job as a coach to help them through that. It's not just going and turning up for tours, it's helping guys where they've got maybe gambling problems, troubles at home, not going on with their missus. That's what you're there for now. So, you know, we're part-time coaches, but it's a full-time job, and it's tough. It's a football coach now is a hard job, and that's why I sympathise for guys like Neil Lennon when I see him getting slaughtered. I don't think people really appreciate what the job entails now. So for me, it's one of the hardest jobs, and that's why they're paid so well. You know, that is the thing you'd say, like Neil Lennon is paid so well, but there's a reason why.
Well, the thing is, when you win, it's the players. When you lose, it's you. You know what I mean? So you always end up in this sort of dynamic where you can't win. It seems like there's a lot of scrutiny, but also even when they're talking about the social media, like they did the social media silence thing, and it's as if that's. I kind of feel like putting more of a spotlight on it almost gives them more of an incentive to be abusive. So you're kind of caught up between how you handle that, because I think that like you're saying, the coaches and stuff are under so much pressure all the time. With even a guy like Lennon, Celtic legend, he comes in, he's got all sorts of backing with the fans, and it's like you don't realise, you know, the 10 was such a big thing, and also this isn't like a regular season. Everything kind of went tits up in a way, do you know what I mean, with the COVID and the fans being at the stadium. So there's a bunch of different things, and I think that fans can be pretty ruthless, and you've probably seen that as well, having Open Goal, because with Open Goal I'm sure there's like a bunch of different like devices with making sure you have to say the right thing all the time. And
no, definitely, I get what you're saying. I would encourage young players not to hate social media. I really would. I think Twitter's a fake world. I do. I think people say things that they wouldn't say in real life. I think people have got personalities on Twitter that they didn't hear in real life. I think you could be anything you want to be. I see people writing the most hilarious things ever on Twitter, and you meet them and you know them, and that's not them. You know, and I think it'd be the opposite in terms of abuse as well. I think people would abuse it, but if you met them in real life, I don't think they would do that. So I take Twitter with a pinch of salt. Like I recently, very much recently, I get quite a bit of stick. But again, as I say, it doesn't bother me, because I've had stick for guys like Paolo, Canio and Neil Lennon telling me I'm rubbish, so I can handle we Ian Faye Springburn telling me my podcast shite. That doesn't bother me, mate. But I could see with younger kids, mate, and if I was younger, that could hurt. So I would say all younger, especially footballers, people that are in the public eye, I wouldn't use Twitter unless you need it for a platform like your podcast to promote it and stuff like that. But if your focus is on to be a football player or a rugby player or whatever it is, I would advise them not to have Twitter or Instagram and just focus on being a football player.
Because it seems to do more damage than good at this point when you're trying to do that kind of thing. Any one wrong tweet. I mean, look at that video of Ollie McBurney I seen that just came out the other day. It's like he's I don't know any context of that, and I don't know the guy, but it's like somebody just videoing him and it looks bad, but you're like you don't know
what's happened before it.
Exactly, you have no context to it, and all of a sudden they're like, Sheffield United are looking into this, and you're going, well, that's not really a fair way of judging the guy.
That's the world we live in now, isn't it? That's just the way it is. You need to be careful at every single thing you do now. And it's sad because, you know, people maybe aren't being themselves, but in case they're pulled up for certain things. But there is also a great side of social media, mate, and I get some great messages as well. I mean, some of the best moments of Open Goals have been Instagram messages or Twitter messages that I've had for people, telling them how much it's helped them, how much in a bad place they were. Then they started watching the podcast, and that outweighs all the bad comments, mate. So, exactly. As I say, you do get the bad side, but then there's also the great side where you can interact with good people who appreciate what you do, and you know, can maybe give them a wee bit of advice back in terms of starting up their podcast. So that's the good side of social media. So there is the good, but it's the same with everything in life, isn't it? There's good and bad bits. You're
doing something good when people are not liking it though. You're always going to have, especially when you get to that level, like there's always going to be people that hate you for it, because it comes across quite like it's on them, it's not you, it's not taking it as a personal thing and just realising that they're obviously got their own thing, I think social media has a lot of that. Like, Stephen, you're talking about like getting messages about open goal.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, like, there's been times where I've not been doing well and it's made me laugh every week.
Good, mate.
So like that's a genuine thing. And when I started this, I was like, I need to try and see if I can get Si Ferry on this one. It's like it all came from just actually laughing at you and Slady and just doing stupid shit.
I mean, we love that. We love to hear. I encourage everyone. See if you want to do a pod, go and do it, man.
Why not?
See, like a football podcast, people. A couple of boys started football podcasts, and people like to me, "Oh, you raging at this time." Why would I be raging that somebody wants to go and do something that they love and something that they enjoy doing? Go for it. Do what you enjoy in life, didn't it? I'd never look at anyone and think, I can't believe he's doing that because I do it, or I hope he does bad. I want everyone to do what they love. You love doing this, go and do it. 100% and enjoy it. If that's what you enjoy in life, go and do it. And if somebody on Twitter tells you you're rubbish at it, who cares, man? Who cares? Because like me say, no matter what you do in life, people are going to say you're crap. There's not going to be no matter who you are. You could be Ronaldo. There'll be a section of people that think you're hopeless.
Yeah.
So that's the way the world is. You need to see past that, and if it's something you enjoy doing, forget what everyone else says and crack on.
Well, the more people that are doing it, the more audience it is for you. That's the way I see it. I don't see why people are so against other people doing podcasts all the time.
I'm making out this as a big thing. It was like basically one or two messages, but as I say,
I know, but
it comes
like,
with it. It's also it is the Celtic and Rangers thing about us as well, because Andy's on. You have a disagreement with Andy about Rangers fans jump on you. You disagree with Slaney about Celtic fans jump on you. So it's Glasgow, mate, innit? But that's why it is football is the way it is so big up here. It's why it's for me the best rivalry in the world, because there is that sort of passion for it. So if you're going to start up a football podcast, you need to expect you're going to get a bit of stick for either side. So as I say, I'm a big enough boy to deal with it.
Exactly, mate. Because people just care about it so much. It's part of their life, you know. It's part of their whole way they've been brought up.
It's the same as me too. That's why people relate to us, because we're the exact same, mate. I couldn't go and work in a bank. I couldn't go and do anything else. My life's football. It's all I can talk about. If I go to parties with people and they can't speak about football, I'm fucked. If I go to family parties and there's a guy that doesn't like football, mate, I avoid them, because I know that if I get talking to him, I've got fuck all to say. Again, I think people can see that I watch football, I talk about football, I coach football, I play football, and that's my life, football. So I can understand when I see fans getting upset about the team's performance or what's happened. I can totally understand that, because I've been there, and I get like that. When Peterhead's not going well, mate, I'm the angriest guy in the world. So I totally relate, and if that means that taking their anger out on things that we say, then so be it. As I say, we're big enough boys to deal with.
Well, that's it. And talking about football, let's talk about the Euros, man. Like, because I'm buzzing about that, and like, amazing
that Scotland's got it to the Euros. It's been a long time coming, innit?
I've too long. How do you think we'll get on?
It's a hard one.
That's too long.
I know. Do you know what I will say is, I think I've said this on the podcast before. I think now in football, if you're well organised off the ball, you can win football matches, and I think that's one thing that Steve Clarke is very organised off the ball. So I didn't expect Scotland to go away and get beat by big scores. I think they could maybe nick 1-0 to win one draws here and there. I think it'll be very much like a Northern Ireland in the last Euros. I think they ended up getting to the last 16, being very good organisation, maybe scoring for set pieces. But for me personally, I would like to see this group of players go and take games to teams, because I think we've got the group of players. If I didn't think we had the group of players, I'd 100% agree with going sitting in, being well organised and maybe trying to hit on the counter-attack. But when I see guys in the Premier League, I watched John McGinn a couple of days ago against Man United on the front foot. I watched McTominay at Man United. They press high on the front foot. I think we've got the players. I think we maybe undervalue ourselves. Yeah. I think we can go and dominate games of football. I think we can go and press high up the pitch. But obviously we've brought a manager in for the type of football that he plays, and that's listen, I'm not anyone to criticise Steve Clarke, because he's done very well doing that, and if that's his beliefs, then go ahead and do it. But I think with this group of players, we could actually go and dominate games of football, which you couldn't have said for a Scotland team in a long time. But Steve Clarke's got us there playing a certain way, and I've no doubt that you'll continue to do that, and fingers crossed that we can maybe get through the group stages.
I mean, it's a tough group, but like you say, I think when he came in, we were all over the shot defensively. Like, he had to come in and kind of tighten things up a bit, and then from there it's like you're starting to see the quality in the midfield, and that's really what's got us at this stage anyway. Yeah,
definitely. I think the first and foremost you do, of me personally, if I'm going into a football team to take over you're getting the defensive side sorted straight away. That's what you're looking at first.
I think.
Build for the back. You need to be hard to beat in football. You need to be good off the ball. You've seen it with Celtic this season. I know I didn't want to go into it, but in terms of Celtic, for me, what's went wrong this season is off the ball. They've not been anywhere near it. Whereas you look at Rangers, I don't think there's been much difference in terms of going forward and creating chances. But I think if you look at Rangers defensively, I think that's where they've got really better for last year. I think their record for last year to this year's been is a massive difference, and that's all came down when you watch them, their team shape, how quickly they get the ball back when they lose it. If they can't get it back, they get into shape very quickly, and they cut off the gaps. They're very compact off the ball, and I think that's where Rangers have got the success this year. You see that with Scotland. I think Steve Clarke does that really well as well, and as I say, Rangers have came up against probably better teams in terms of players in the Europa League this year and got results, and so for that I can't see any reason why Scotland can't go and do the same thing.
I mean, well drilled, that's what it is. It's like you need to go in with a game plan, and you can see the difference between the Rangers of last season and the Rangers this season, and Scotland before Steve Clarke, Scotland with Steve Clarke. But it's like going into the games, you're thinking, well, we gave England a good game a couple of years ago, and the team that under striking, and it wasn't even that, like, you know, I don't think that team was anywhere near as good as this team.
No, but I think also with that organisation, that brings a different type of mentality as well. When you're that well organised, like the best football I've ever played in my career was under the Canio, and it was because you went out with the mentality that we're so well organised here. If we're in the right positions when they've got the ball that we should be, it's going to be very hard for them to score against us. So that gives you that belief that when I get the ball, I can maybe try that extra, that maybe harder pass, because I know if we get it away, we'll all be in shape quickly anyway. So it's fine. If you get, that's what the Cannon used to say. Lads, try, express yourself. You give the ball away, bang, we get into shape quick, they can't get through us. And I think you see that with Rangers as well this year. I think guys like Glenn Kamara have expressed themselves that wee bit more this year because the defensive shape's been so good that when he loses it, Ryan Jack's over to cover him. Barisic goes high, loses it, Jack's over to cover him, Kamara's over. So I think that level of preparation and organisation it affects everything. Your confidence that you could go and express yourself off the ball, and that confidence that if we stick to the game plan here, we can win this game. And again, that's yours on the training ground. You know, this doesn't just happen overnight. As I said with the Canio, when the Canio took over, mate, I remember phoning my mate and saying, mate, this will be a brilliant, man. It'll be volleys every day. All we'll do is shooting and volleys, and it'll be step overs. Because you think the type of player he was, that couldn't have been any more wrong, mate. Monotonous every day, 3 hours out there working on team shape. When the ball's here, we're here. Team we're playing against on Saturday, we need to be here. It's boring as fuck, mate, but it works.
Yeah,
it works, honestly. And it's like anything in life, mate. It's no rocket science. The more you prepare, the better results you'll get. And again, as I say, that's where I need to give Steve Clarke massive credit, because in terms of his organisation, as you say, he's got it spot on.
Well, I'm hopeful that we'll get out of the group for sure. And the way we actually spoke before on the radio when I was telling you about that was the Scotland Powerchair football.
So captain. You did, captain. That's right. Because you were speaking of Fergie, weren't you, Barry Ferguson?
Yeah. I was like, because I came on and I was like,
I think you were trying to say you were a better captain than he was. Is that?
Of course, mate. There's no doubt about that. With all due respect to Barry, but like, you know, I mean, I'll get 10 euros. You know, he didn't get 10 euros, so well, that's my hope anyway. So when I spoke to you about that, like, we were all dead buzzing about the fact that when you actually got there, we were looking at the Euros group for us and how we can qualify and stuff, and we only started like a couple of years ago, but like the actual sport itself is still kind of we're like for lack of a better, I think we're probably like slightly above like a Gibraltar. For example, like,
so he's a fucking hopeless.
Just because, like, we know we had a game against Northern Ireland and we drew 0-0, and they're going to the World Cup.
There you go, mate. He's alright.
So it wasn't bad, but like, I think there's in terms of, I'm comparing it to England. England are like 10 years ahead of us.
Right. Why is that?
Well, because the sport here basically didn't start till I'm the only player that's been in since the first day of the first session, and I remember coming in and being like, man, this is not competitive enough for me. I didn't like it. It was too slow. Yeah. You see now, man, they've got all these fancy wheelchairs that go 100 miles an hour, and it's like, it's hard for me to describe it. It's just, it's one of the best. Have we got a clip there of that actually?
Stick it on, mate.
Because it's better showing you that.
So what have England done in that space of time that you could maybe copy?
Well, mate, do you know, I think that it comes down to they originally just had more money. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like we
start saving up then, mate.
But so
start saving the money you're making for this podcast. Put that.
I will. I need to blow up a bit faster before I can do that. Hopefully you can help me with that.
I'm skint, mate, believe me.
No, but
where do you want me to play for?
I don't. That's a good question. When am I scoring to go? No,
Is this you scoring? Is this you showing me how good you are?
I go like just start playing it. We'll give them an idea. So basically, obviously, with you in, I really wanted to highlight this sport and how I don't think it gets talked about enough. It's one of the best sports in the world, man. I love it. That's me there, and I'm probably a bit of mess them up. But what it is I'll kind of do a wee
Are you
rundown.
captain?
Yeah,
I need to be honest. I've not seen you communicating with anybody so far. I've not heard any. I've not heard you talking to anybody. What kind of captain are you? A silent one?
See when we get to the clip of the last goal. Actually, there was a goal. We were losing 2-1, right? This was a friendly tournament with a couple of the English teams because we're not ready to play the English first team yet because they're just it would just not be a good idea.
Right.
But in terms of like the actual sport, it's 4 a side, right?
Right.
So the way it's laid out is you get like a middle player and you get 2 wide players and a goalie.
Right.
But so I think a lot of people assume you're going to get a bunch of wheelchairs like
banging into each other. Yeah.
But one of the things that happens with it basically is you have rules to where you need to be like 3 metres apart from each other. So like if I have the ball, only one defensive player can come towards me.
Right, I get you.
And if 2 players go towards me, they call it a 2v1.
Right.
So basically, a 2v1's a foul and you get a free kick. That way, it stops it becoming like a pure Robocop thing. Do you know what I mean?
That looks good, mate.
But
still think you could be doing a bit more as a captain, to be honest, but...
Can't be saying that, man. My coach is going to watch this. No,
so have we got a goal for you or what?
No. There'll be. I'm forgetting exactly what it is, but there's definitely this might actually be a goal. Aye.
Oh, good play. I like that.
Look at that pass, that's a captain right there. Do you know what I mean? That's what a captain does.
That was good.
By the way, see that guy actually. That was his first game. James Doe. It was his first game.
And the one that scored.
Again.
Oh, mate, he's a player. Ah.
See, I mean, we know how to do it.
Mate, that's good though.
His first game actually, that was his first cap, and I set him up for a hat trick, so it was good.
I was gonna say he looks like I'm not belittling you.
That was a bit miss.
He looks like the best. He looks like the best.
Oh man, you're gonna get me fired up here, mate. This is gonna end up with me putting you through this table. No. That was another assist. That was a good one.
But I seen his goal. He scored, if you know.
Oh, that's me. Yeah.
That's a tap.
My goals are like right at the end of the video, mate. But that was just some good play that I wanted to show you there. Like,
mate, it's good though. It's entertaining, eh?
Mate, see when it's played right. See the top games. It's fucking brilliant. Man.
Yeah.
And see the thing is, see football. Like I think disability sport obviously gets a bit shunned. We're not really spoke about in the mainstream term.
Yeah.
So like having somebody like you on with as big a platform as you got, I was like, this is like you're the kind of guy that can highlight stuff like this because your Sky Sports and your BTs and all that, they're not interested in it.
No.
And it's
so sell it, mate, because I've no doubt that quite a lot of the open goal fans are watching this. So.
Well, that's the thing is that I'm just kind of wanting to. The reason why I even started this was because when I don't want to blabber on about my whole thing, but like I've been in a wheelchair my whole life, right? So it's a CP. I've got cerebral palsy. I was trying to say that right because it's like anytime that I get mumbly, you start hearing the cerebral palsy come through. But no, the Mark Dallas, the SCW guy, was like, no, you've got cerebral palsy, mate, not cerebral palsy.
So, he said you got what?
He said he was like, you've got cerebral palsy, mate, not cerebral palsy, and I was like, that's brilliant. But no, mate. See, when I started doing this, it was mainly because when I was growing up, you didn't really see anybody in the wheelchair doing anything like this, or there was no. I felt quite hopeless in the sense of just there was nothing that you could really aspire to be like
relate to.
In terms of football, that sport didn't exist. And I used to play football in goals on my knees actually.
Did you?
5-a-sides, I used to do that.
Wow.
Pure mental, man. My knees are fucked. my knees are just about as bad as my legs at this point. But what happened essentially was I wanted to be like, well, as I was sort of figuring myself out and figuring my shit out and getting better with my mental health and stuff like that and how I looked at myself, I kind of realised that the wheelchair wasn't necessarily the problem. It was more so how I was perceiving it.
Yeah, and what you were thinking about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the guys coming through Powerchair football, they were all, I could see a lot of the same problems that I had.
Yeah.
And I wanted to show, like, that you can do these things. You can do a podcast, and you can. And
Well, you're going to be you're the guy then, innit? It's going to inspire everyone, mate.
well, hopefully,
You've shown people it doesn't matter.
Well, but see, the
what
thing
you've got,
is,
you can do just as much as everyone else.
that's why I like having people like you on is so good, because I think the way you break down that barrier is to show that I'm in a wheelchair and you're not, but we can have a conversation.
Of course we can.
But I think people have this idea that it's like, oh, he's better than watch, you know what I mean? It's
Oh,
like,
really? Do you really think that?
I get that all the time, mate. Where people are like, you need to be careful in case you don't want to offend them or anything like that. And I'm like, you can say it to me, man. Like,
Can you tell your joke on here?
I make all sorts of
What
wheelchair
you used to
jokes.
tell girls? You were what?
What?
Stephen Hawking's
yeah. No, I used to go into clubs, man, and it was like, and I had no confidence whatsoever, man. I was just trying to come up with something funny to get attention, and I was like, I am Stephen Hawking's brother, like that's why I'm in a wheelchair. We've got this generic thing. I was a bit less fucked up than he was, but we're both in wheelchairs. And
Did I get you a kiss?
I did.
There you go, mate.
One time, but then one time that was like, that's the last thing that was like, what, are you fucking
Brilliant, mate.
So it was like, so it's just kind of, but that was a bad way of using it. And at the time, I was kind of looking at myself really negatively, you know. And I think that like now I'm actually creating something to where we can start putting Powerchair football in these different sports. Because see these people that I meet through this sport, man, they all have such incredible stories. And
Yeah.
people talk about like the passion of the Premier League. It's kind of went away and stuff like that. Like it's very all about the money and stuff like that, and you don't see the kind of the same passion you've seen years ago. But see in Powerchair football, man, the passion is there.
So why don't you bring some of the guys on and tell their story?
Well, we've done that. We've had a couple of guys on. Like we had the England Powerchair football captain on.
Right.
He was great, and hopefully one day I'll be giving him it. But no, we've had different people on, and what I'm basically trying to do is create as much of a mainstream platform as possible, so that their stories can get heard.
Yeah.
So it's important for me to have guys like you on first, so that they can actually like have an audience to hear their story.
So what was it that changed in you? You saying about you used to think bad of yourself. What you remember? What it was that changed you?
I mean, there was loads of things, but I think I just had. You just get to a point where you look at all your. I had sort of for lack of a better word, like a breakdown where everything just sort of came to the surface.
Right.
And I seen the way that I was looking at myself, and I was like, I'm either going to like, this is putting it bluntly, but I'm either going to die or I'm going to change something here. Like that was where I was at, and it was kind of just a decision where I made where I was like, instead of wanting somebody to look up to, I can just be that guy. Yeah. So this is what we're doing, and this is why I'm doing the whole thing. And I think that like a sport like Powerchair football, with it being football, will be able to relate to people so much. It's just a case of getting out there, getting it showcased, letting people see it. Because when we seen like the scenes of the Scotland qualify for the Euros and all that, you start to. I was thinking about it and thinking that if we qualify for the Euros, I don't know if anyone would even know about it. Do you know? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It would be huge to us. Yeah. We'd love to do it, but nobody. We wouldn't get any sort of. I mean, the England team won the Euros, and there was nothing said about it. You're like, how was that not mentioned? Do you know what I mean? How's that not brought up? And it's like, we're so, in this sort of push for equality, we're kind of left to the side a wee bit. Yeah, I think football is it's hard in football because, as like I said, everyone's so obsessed with our game up here. Yeah, it's hard for them to see even anything outside of the SPL and the Scottish national team. But as I say, mate, hopefully doing stuff like this and people will start to, because when you actually watch it, it's exactly. I mean, mate, that's the thing as well. Is like, I think that's what we need. We need like Celtic and Rangers to get involved in this. Yeah, like through the foundations. Yeah. Because I did a. I'm talking far too much. No, don't you go, mate. But I did a challenge for the foundation where I was doing 1,000 kilometres in the month of April. Right. So it was a marathon a day for 30 days. I think you could have done a wee bit more, to be honest. Went for 1,000, right? I'd have went 10,000, but right, on you go. Honestly, mate, there's no chance I could have done it anymore whatsoever. I don't even know how, like, my body, so did you do it? My body was, we did it. Brilliant, my body was falling apart, man. It was horrible. We got like 3 days in, and I was like to Powerchair greeting, being like, I don't know if I can do this, mate. But we raised $2,000 for like mental health charities through the foundation, and I've been talking to them a lot and being like, we need to get a Powerchair football team on the ball. Yeah. Because it's the Celtic and Rangers dynamic that will engage those fans. Because see right now there's like, I play for Clyde, right, and we get Clyde and Tayside, the Dundee team, and Clyde and Tayside is basically like our version of the Old Firm. Right. Okay. And it's and there's a lot of heat in that game, man. Right?
Yeah.
And like, see if that was Celtic and Rangers, people would be watching it because the passion's there. Like, we all really care about it.
Right.
And you can tell that there's like a hunger to actually. And now I'm just sort of just trying to push it because like people have. You see it with like women's football, how much that's progressed and how much coverage is getting now.
Yeah.
And I'm just sort of trying to be like, well, look, can we get in this sort of discussion here?
Yeah, but I think as well, people like you say, you need pioneers to do it. So with the women's game, for me, the reason I got interested in the women's game is because I listened to Shelley Kerr and I thought, she's good, man.
Yeah.
I like the way she thinks about the game, and then you listen to Leanne Crichton talk about football, who I talk to on a regular basis. And we actually, if I play on a Saturday, she'll message me on a Sunday or a Monday asking how my game went. I spoke to her today about her game against Rangers. So it's people that inspire people as well. And like I say, I think what you're doing would be great, mate. And I think if we can get more people on with reaches and audiences that we've got, then we can get it out there, definitely.
Well, if you ever want to talk about Powerchair football on goal, give us a shout.
Right, okay, you and Slaney we'll get a wee game. You v Slaney, 1v1.
Oh, mate, that would be unreal. Because you see, the thing is as well,
We'll cut the brakes on his though.
but I mean, with all due respect to Slaney, I was running rings around him, man.
Would you, right? Oh, there's a challenge, and you'll see this, right? Okay,
for sure, mate.
Right,
for
there
sure.
you go.
I
Challenge.
could totally do it with my eyes closed, to be fair. It would be like still be better than him. But to be fair, I've been playing it for like 10 years. So if he was to able to beat me, it would be the sport of bad name. If you get the Scotland
I know
captain.
you would need to fold in it. If Slaney beat you, that'd be the end of it, man. So you want to take that chance?
If Slaney skins me, I'm like, that's it, done.
That's it, done.
That's cancel the podcast.
Yeah,
It's finished.
cancel
That's it.
Keep
But-
open up the playing field and you could go to the chair and play real football with Slaney.
Oh, you'd probably have more chance beating him at real football than you would at real.
Well,
I would say.
Here's what we could do. Right? Here's an idea, right? So we can get another chair, right? And Slaney can go in the chair, and then we'll see how that gets on. And I'll skin him a few times. But then after that, I can come out the chair and go in goals. You can take shots.
Shots in
it.
it, right? We'll do that, mate.
I've not done that in a while, but it would be funny to see his face when I save all the shots as well.
No, see, to be fair, Slaney's got a very, very hard shot.
Oh, has he?
He's a good finisher.
Well,
He's got great technique. See, when he hits a ball, he can hit a ball much better than I can hit a ball. That's probably
Really?
the best part of his game, mate.
Do you think?
Because his dad used to tell him when he was younger, didn't he? He wasn't interested in how he played. He just cared about goals.
Mm-hmm.
So Slaney's a good finisher, mate. I wouldn't hedge your bets on saving his shots, if I'm being honest.
Well,
with
that's the thing is I think
you could get in his head, though. You could probably get in his head.
I think mentally the idea right now is to get in his head. It's all you get in his head. Like when I used to play fives all the time.
Yes.
What I loved about it is I would turn up and so I've got like 4 brothers and they're all older than me, right? Well, 3 of them are, and I would go and play fives with them, and it was always like these big guys, and they were like, "Why have you brought a wee guy in a wheelchair? Yeah, like, how's he going to play?" And I would come off the chair. So like the first 5 minutes, they would tap shots, and I would stop it, and they were like, "Oh, you can move a wee bit," and then they would start hitting it harder as you go on, and then. By the near end of the game, they realised they've not scored yet, and they're starting to smash the ball at me. And I'm saving that, and they're like, "What the fuck's going on here, man? This guy's like a crippled Spider-Man."
Brilliant.
So it was
But
like,
again, showing that it doesn't matter.
exactly. That's what the whole point is. That, like you can really
You can do anything, mate.
That's why it's called.
See, if
all
you really
that
want to
ability.
do something, doesn't matter what you can do it.
Exactly.
I firmly believe that. Like, even us, I wrote a column for the Evening Times. I fucking left school in 4th year with no grades. I fucking been on the radio speaking. Mate, I'm not clever. I didn't use. I couldn't tell you a big word. This time on the radio, I'm like, what the fuck does he mean when he said? Like, I'm on with guys that are saying words. I'm like, please don't ask me what, in my opinion, because I've not got a clue what to say. But you wing it, mate.
Aye.
But like I say, if you want to do something and you believe in yourself and you just be yourself, you can do it, man. It doesn't matter who you are or what you are. If you firmly love something and you think you can do it, you can do it.
100%. And see, when you were talking about what changed it for me, I think that says that right. Like the whole idea of I wasn't being myself. I was trying to be what I thought was supposed to be the way you're supposed to be, and like you end up just with this unhappiness of who you are. And like as soon as I let go of what other people thought about me and just start being the way I was, and because I think people would just be a bit surprised about things I could do, and it would be like. And I was always had a pure chip on my shoulder. I've been like, I need to show these guys what I can do. And so I think when I let that go, it became a lot easier to be happier.
100%. It's funny, I was talking about, I see with the radio, I didn't have ever told anyone, but my mother-in-law's massive on, like, what is it when you speak properly? What is it? Being
like posh?
No, posh, but she likes people that have got good vocabulary.
Pronunciation?
Pronunciation, so when my kids, if they say something wrong, she's on them straight away. No, that's not the right word, use this word. You should hear my kids speak, mate. It's like they're from Buckingham Palace, honestly. And there's no, if somebody was to meet me and then my kids, they'd be like, there's fucking no way they're his kids, man. The way I speak and the way they speak. So she's like that to me. Her and my father-in-law used to listen to us on the radio, and she was like, you sound like a Ned. She was like, you can't talk like that. And I was like, I couldn't care less, man. I'm going on there and talking to myself. So I was like, I'll tell you what, every night, every day before I go on the radio, you give me a word that means something clever, and I'll use it on the radio that night. So see, for the first 3 weeks of the radio, mate, if you listen to it back, I'm using words that I've got fucking no idea. That she's told me, try and use this word a night, and I would just fling it in anywhere. And Barry Ferguson's like that to me. What the fuck does that mean? So we used that as quite a laugh, you know. That I was so thick, and I'm sitting on the radio, and she was giving me big words to use. So, but like you say, mate, just be yourself, and see if people don't like you for what you are, then stop. If it doesn't work, if the podcast stops with me being myself, then that's fine. Go and do someone else that maybe suit your personality.
Exactly, mate. That's what it's all about. Like, see, actually being able to embrace who you are and like just live that way. Because the thing is, as well, is like you're going to, if you're not yourself, people are going to dislike something about you anyway.
Yeah.
So you may as well be yourself like that if you're going to do something.
Exactly. Because even with I done that column, it was the Evening Times and the Herald, and I think guys that had on were like Michael Stewart. And you know, Michael Stewart fucked me out. And for the first couple of times I was thinking, people that read this paper are going to think I'm a fucking moron. Like that. Because I love writing, mate. Like I write poems. No poems, but limericks. Just like a load of shite. I've got that's what I did in my kind of... I hope to bring a book out one day.
Poems.
I know. It's a big fan of John Cooper Clarke. Do you know him?
It sounds familiar, but I'm probably...
If you listen to Desert Island Discs, his Desert Island Discs the best ever. So he's like a poet for Salford, for the working class council estate, and ended up getting one of his poems on The Sopranos, and he wrote a song for the Arctic Monkeys. So I'm obsessed with him. He's on Instagram if you want to follow him. So
I'm going to check that out. Yeah, man,
again, it's just someone clicks in you, then I watch him and I think, I fucking love what he does, man. I'm going to give this a bash, and I love it. Yeah. So I've started doing that. So hopefully that's something that could come at. Where was I going with that? What was the start of that story?
We're talking about you.
I'm a Michael Stewart.
Right.
So like you say, mate, for the first couple of weeks, all I was thinking is, I'm a moron, people are going to hate this. And then the guy for the Herald came back and he's like, mate, it's the most read article that we've had in the sports thingy for, I can't remember how the actual time limit he put this it, but, and I was like, and then that's when I thought, fuck whatever people think, mate, just be yourself. And again, if people like it, and if they don't, fuck them, man, go and do something else. Or so I totally agree with you. Don't be who people think. Don't be who you think people want you to be. Just do what you do, man. And if it doesn't, as I say, if it doesn't work, go and try and do something else.
Well, because that's when your best stuff comes out anyway. Like you're talking about, like being in the video with Barry Ferguson and all these Ali McCoys talking to them all and all that. Has that ever been weird to you, like, in the sense of like these guys, you know, with all due respect, mate, these guys got to the top level of the game, and like. Is there ever an element of being like, I can't believe I'm talking to these guys, you know what I mean? Do you ever have that sort of... Because even before this, mate, I was just talking to the guys here, and I was like, I was a wee bit nervous and being like, oh, Si Ferry's coming in, I want to be on the ball here, and like, you kind of get that...
And you fucked that.
Exactly, mate. I fucked it. But...
You've been brilliant, mate.
So, but it's like that feeling, that buzz you get, or before it, where you're like, you're nervous, but you're excited. Exactly, like, it's the feeling of like that... excitement and nerves at the same time. Like, do you still get that now? Or is it kind of, do you just get used to it almost?
Do you know what? The radio was a big one. Because as you say, I'll never forget my first night in the radio. It's like they were introducing me and Fergie, and it was Paul Cooney, and he was like, and tonight on the new Go Radio football show, we've got ex-Scotland, Rangers, Blackburn captain Barry Ferguson and Peterhead Simon Ferry. And I was like, Paul Cooney, come on the fuck, man. Is that all you could come up with? At least just fling ex-Celtic and ex-Celtic reserve, man. Summon. We've got Peterhead player Si Ferry. So for the first couple of weeks, again, mate, like you say, you are like, God, you're disagreeing with Barry Ferguson. You're sitting thinking, who am I to disagree with Barry Ferguson? But again, that's who I am, mate. Like, it wouldn't matter if I was arguing with you about football, or Andy Halliday, or Barry Ferguson, or Alex Ferguson. If I had my opinion, mate, I'll get it. And that's just the person I am. And as I say, so why try and be someone that you aren't, instead of just sitting there agreeing with everything Barry says, but you think, nah, I'm gonna give my opinion, man. If people like it, and if they don't, that's why you've got it in the first place. The best advice I ever got in football wasn't up until I was about 21 years old. I went on loan to Swindon. In the first 2 games, I was brilliant, really good. I played Southend at home, and somebody else at home. 2 home games back to back. Nice big pitch at Swindon. Fans there, nice atmosphere of playing. We played good football, so it kind of suited me, done really well. Came to the third game, we went away to Walsall. Tight pitch, horrible. Ball went back to front, and Danny Wilson took me off at half time. He says, "You're having a stinker." He says, "You're going to need to change if you want to last in this league." And Gordon Greer came up to me after the game and he went, "Don't change. Why change?" He says, "What's got you here is being you." He says, "If you change, you just turn into everyone else." He says, you won't be yourself, and by the end of the day you'll end up just kicking the ball to the pitch." He says, "See, if you fail coming down here playing the way you play, then hold your hands up and say, right, I'm not good enough to come and play in this league, doesn't suit me, I'll need to go and try someone else." And I've kept that advice all my life, mate. Didn't change, man. Just because one guy tells you that, "Nah, you need to change that, it's not good," fuck him. Stick to what you believe in, and if you know you're being true to yourself and doing what you do, then at the end of the day you can look at yourself when you do fail, because I've no doubt one day open goal will come to an end, but as I say, I've given it my best shot and I've been myself, so I can look back and be proud of what I've done with it.
Yeah, no, like the whole way that it's built up and the whole audience you've got is from you being yourself.
Because if I went on and wasn't myself, mate, and it never done well, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night for the rest of my life. You know, if I went on there and tried to be clever and try to use big words and it ended up not doing well, then I would be so angry and I'd hate myself. But as I say, if it falls to being myself, then so be it.
You just need to kind of, like, I had that exact same thing. Like, the first couple of podcasts, I was very much trying to be sitting up straight and asking the right things and being very on the ball with it and just try to be as professional as you can.
That's a load of shit, See, mistakes, mate. Exactly. People love mistakes because they know you're human.
Exactly.
See, when I done the radio, this is the thing that got me with the radio. See, if you make a mistake, everyone would be like, "Ah." I was like, who cares? We make mistakes on the podcast all the time. We said Kevin Nisbet should be young player of the year. He's 25. Who gives a fuck? Who cares, mate? Is there anyone that's sitting thinking, "Nah, I'm not watching that anymore. I can't believe he thinks Kevin Nisbet's young." Who cares, man? Because it's just the way people are. Like people will make mistakes every day in their work.
Yeah.
It's the fact it's that wee thing that you get away with. That's the wee buzz you get out of life when you make a mistake and people will pull you up for it. So just be normal. I hate people that are scared to make mistakes. My biggest point to my Peterhead players before they go out on a Saturday is, don't care how many mistakes you make, it's how you react to the mistakes. If you're not making mistakes, you're not expressing yourself. See, if you're playing safe all the time, I don't want you to play in my team. I want you to be brave, go and get on the ball if you're having a bad game and keep giving the ball away. Otherwise, what we're trying to do will never work. So make mistakes. Bruno Fernandes gave the ball away 37 times in a Man United game once. 37, think about that in a one game.
That's a lot. Man.
But do you know what he done? Set up the winning goal with 2 minutes to go. So nobody remembers the 37 mistakes. Whereas what I think we do in Scotland too much is focus on people's mistakes. I say to our boys, you all focus too much on mistakes. Mistakes happen all the time at the top level. But see, mistakes, it's how you react to them. Go and get the ball again, keep making mistakes. And I think that's where we need to get better in Scotland. We're so, even in League 2 I hear somebody making a pass and it gets given away and they're getting slaughtered. Why? For what reason?
And I think that's part of the reason why Scotland have took so long to qualify for the tournament.
Yeah, I would go along. I could see what you're saying.
Because it's like the players, every wrong pass you make, you're done. You're like, don't put that guy in the squad again. So it's like everybody's always on edge of, even in the Powerchair team, you can tell that everybody that gets in the squad is all like, I need to keep my place. I don't want to make a mistake.
Yeah, that's the worst mentality going in, and I don't want to make a mistake.
Exactly, and that's what I'm trying to sort of express the same thing, and I feel like that's what hopefully with these players that we've got now, like your Ryan Christie's and John McGinn's, that can just go for it and will take shots and will just do the things, because that's how you get to the level anyway. You can only get to that level by making mistakes.
But I think the reason that we've got that with John McGinn and Scott McTominay is because they're playing at clubs now with big players who that mentality is rubbed off onto them. They've seen it. But I, by the way, I'm not getting at fans there for shouting at mistakes, because I'm a fan, and when I'm sitting as a fan, I slaughter every mistake. That's understandable. I'm talking about coaches and even to our fellow players, you know, gain the ball away. I never shout at anybody for gaining the ball away. I shout at them for their reaction to gain the ball away. You know, go after it. If you gain the ball away and it's, or I can't accept that. Fucking get on with it. It's done. What's next? That's where I go. Or if as I say, they're playing within themselves, or they'll go and be brave and get on the ball. They're really the only two things that. Or if we've worked on a shape and they're not in a certain position at a time because they're not taking on instruction, that's when I would criticise. But in terms of getting on the ball and try to express yourself, I don't see how you can criticise people for that.
No,
as I say, 37 times. I think Trent Alexander-Arnold done 40 odd times for Liverpool in one game. But that's why they guys are top players, because they've got that mentality where mistakes happen. You know.
And if you're worried about making mistakes, you're not going to be able to perform to the best you can perform. You know what I mean? You have to actually just focus on what it is you're doing. Like even with there was in one of our first international games, I got hooked like in the first 5 minutes,
Right.
Because I was just put up for it, and I was too up for it, and the gaffer was like, taking you off, man. And I remember like my family and my bird were in the stands, and I was like, fuck's sake, this is not ideal.
But I bet you that stood you in good stead.
It did.
So see, failure as well. There's nothing wrong with failing, man. That certain thing at that time just wasn't meant to be for you.
Yeah, well, exactly. And I went on and won Player of the Year that
there
season.
You go.
Because I was like, fuck that. I'm not, because you do. It makes you aware of things that you're doing wrong, and see, even in that moment, part of you wants to just lose your shit and be like, that was shit of you. But I kept my head down, and he started me the next game, and he came up to me after it, and he was like, he uses that example. That coach, he's no longer a coach now, but when he was coaching, he's like, uses the example of how I handled that. It was like, I came back on, and I was, back to normal kind of thing. And a lot of players now are just very much like, if you do that, your head goes down. It's
But I blame the coach.
Exactly.
But see, the coach. So when I'm coaching and if I'm taking somebody off or I shout at them, it's not for my benefit. I'm doing that because I think that's what's going to stand you in better stead in the long term. Yeah. So if I release a kid for Celtic, it's not because I hate that kid, I want to release him. I want to feel good about myself, or I need to be. I'm on a power trip that I need to release this kid. I'm releasing that kid because I think in the long term that'll do him the world of good. That the fact that he's maybe not ready in here, and they'll use this rejection and what I've said to him, and like you say, you'll work on them, and it'll go and make him a better player. It'll probably make him a stronger character. It's probably why guys like Andy Robertson have went and done so well after getting released for teams like Celtic. They've used it. Exactly. And again, try and use every bad experience as a good one, as a learning one that you can go and think, right, what did I do wrong there? Right, I need to do something better. I need to change that. And more often than not, it will turn.
Yeah, it's a self-belief thing. And for me, it's like every bad experience you've had, and like dealing with how you feel about things and all that, even in life, it's like it comes back to, if you can realise every bad experience you've had has made you who you are today, and use that to the example of being able to use it to your benefit and going, I'm going to use all these experiences and use the kind of mentality that it's gave me to just push on and be like, I can do anything.
Yeah, it's like when I left Dundee, mate. Like, obviously full time at football since you were 15, and then you go to Dundee. What age was I when I went to Dundee? 27. So I went to Dundee at 27, and I had a year left on my contract at Dundee, and they came to me a year ago and said, we want to pay you up, we want you to go. And you think, fuck, I'm at Dundee now. If I leave Dundee here, I've only played 1 year in Scotland, I've been shite since I've been up here, I'm not getting another full-time team. Mm-hmm. You start to think, my life's fucked. Yeah. Like, so I remember phoning my mates, my mum and dad, again my father-in-law, and they were all like, no, don't take the pay up, stay for another year. And I was like, why? It's not working. I'm being myself here and it's not working. Right, it's scary, fuck it. Leave. Left Dundee with a pay up, and as I say, went and signed for Peterhead with my mate Jim, and I got a job. But then open goal comes, mate. So like I say, use every setback, and see, do you know what I done at Dundee? When I was at Dundee, I was so underprepared for every single training session. I was so underprepared for every single game. I wasn't living my life properly. My kid was a bad sleeper. I was getting about 3 hours sleep a night. Wasn't eating properly. And again, it's not rocket science. It showed on the pitch. I was shite. So what I did do was think, right, anything that I now go into, I need to prepare what I'm doing. I need to make sure that I'm on the ball, man. So when the podcast came along, for every interview I made sure I knew every single bit about the person I was interviewing. I prepared for it. The podcast, I made sure every points were covered. I knew everything that I had to say. And again, no rocket science. When you do that, because of my experience at Dundee, is why I went and tried so hard at doing things like open goal, and why I've been at Peterhead now for 6 years since, because every day I run 10k to make sure that I'm as fit as I can be when it comes to the weekend for Peterhead. Not every day I run 10k, maybe three times a week, to make sure, because at Dundee I look at pictures now as a fat bastard, and that's not acceptable, mate. Yeah. Isn't it? See, when I look back now, but at the time, as the same as I say about everyone else, I blame the coach. Paul Hartley's fault. It's not Paul Hartley's fault, it's my fault. Very rarely is it a coach's fault, it's your fault. You've not done enough, and that's why you're not there. Because see, if you're the best player, you play every week, and it's simple as that. Give a coach coaches didn't like my personality. No, they didn't. It's nothing to do with your personality. It's you as a player and as a person. You're not at it, and that's why you're not playing. So I've used that for that, especially that experience at Dundee, because as I say, mate, there was times when I left Dundee thinking 2 kids, wife, big mortgage, what am I going to do, man? I'm fucked.
Aye.
But through hard work and a bit of determination, and again, as you say, preparing properly, mate, managed to turn it around. So using that bad experience to create a good one.
No, you're totally right, and I think every kind of bad experience has a potential to do that if you have the right mindset of being able to go
Look at yourself.
Exactly, because that's what it's all about, really. See if you can look at yourself and be honest with what's going on. Like, because a lot of people, the reason why they go to the excuse of the coach or whatever's going on is because it's so much harder to look at yourself and be honest with it. You know what I mean? See,
after every game, I sit on the back of our bus, and I say this to the boys, and it doesn't really happen now, but when I first started doing the coaching job, we'd get beat on a Saturday, and I'd sit on the front of the bus, and all I could hear in the back of the bus was excuse after excuse after excuse. I says to boys, it can't be everyone else's fault. It can't. You need end it after every game, mate. The first thing I do is think, how did I do today? And you're totally honest with yourself. Shite. Hold your hands up. I was shite. See, if you think you were good, fair enough, that's fine. But see excuses. I can't go them, mate. I can't go excuses. The manager done this, the coach done this, training's know this. You're the person that's out there. You can affect it. It's you as players, and again, I think players, coaches and managers now take so much stick. Where, I'll give you an example, right? Brendan Rodgers' Celtic team. I went and watched him train one day.
Right.
And the training was brilliant, mate. It blew my mind. But the best part that I seen in the full thing was a simple 4-station passing drill. So there was 2 men here, a man here, a man here, a man here. He basically passed the ball, he opened his body up, played to him, and it went in the square. There'd be wee different variations for here and there. Very basic, anyone could do it. See the intensity.
Well, I could do it, but
see the intensity of that drill, mate. I've never seen anything like it. It was like the World Cup final.
Really? It was
And I've no doubt Brendan Rodgers' stuff is brilliant, but that's why that Celtic team won so much. They had standards, mate. Every single one of them. Standards
there
every
was
time
like
they
a
turned
fire
up.
in them to make sure everything was on point.
And it was about the same time I was coaching the kids. That night I went and coached the kids, and I actually made a point of putting on the same drill for the kids.
Yeah.
And the standard was terrible. It was a fuck about. Pass the ball. We'll have a wee laugh, run to the next station. I stopped it and I went, lads, I've just watched guys who are millionaires, who have won everything in football, do that exact same drill 10 times the intensity that you who want to get to where they are doing it. And I think that's what it comes down to. It's having that personal standard that every time I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it to the best I can, whether it is a passing drill. Because see the game at the end, they're off, the intensity is through the roof, but it's the wee bits that make that. Yeah. And that's why that Celtic team for me under Brendan Rodgers was so successful, because whether it was a passing drill, whether it was a rondo box at the start, everything was done with a standard and intensity, mate, and that's why they're successful. Again, it's no rocket science. It's what you put in is what you get out at the end.
And it's the same, that logic is probably the same reason why Gerrard's been so successful. Because I mean, looking at the whole thing, it's like Rodgers, you could tell that when Rodgers came in, it was like this whole professionalism came into the club and everything changed from the bottom up, and it comes back to the mentality of the players was always just win all the time. And I think that's what you see. It's such a, as much as football is changing, that mentality is still the most important thing.
Oh, mentality, and anything you do is mentality is the most important thing. Again, it's about, we're talking about as a coach, setting that standard. I think one of the questions you asked me was, do you feel I need to be funny? Never, mate. So if I'm my personality changes the environment I'm in. So when I'm sitting on the podcast, I'm sitting with my mates, we're getting a laugh. It's about football, you're talking, not trying to be funny, but trying to entertain people, try to wind Slaney up. That's how that is in that setting. Mate, see when I'm at Peterhead coaching, I don't think I've ever had a laugh. So see the bus an hour and a half on the way up there, I get a laugh and a joke. And on the bus for an hour and a half on the way back for training, a laugh and a joke. But when I'm there for that 2 hours, mate, it's not a laugh and a joke. Because my job is employed by Peterhead is to make the players better and to win games on a Saturday. So for the 2 hours I've got the boys during the week, I'm there to make sure they're well drilled for a Saturday, and I'm there to make them get better. And again, that comes down to, but I need that for them, and that's the big thing I put across to them. For us to get better as a whole team, I've got my standards that I'll always be for that 2 hours, but you need to bring that as well. Because if there's a couple of us that done it, it doesn't work. Everyone needs to bring that same standard if you're going to be successful. And to be fair, the boys have took it on board and they've been really good since. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some boys in the Peterhead team that have never seen me laugh and joke me. Because I only get on a bus with 6 guys: Ryan Conroy, Dale Lyle, Gary Fraser, Scott Brown and Davy Nichols, because we need to split the bus. And that's when I hear my laugh and a joke. But when I get to training for 2 hours, mate, they boys probably think, who's that guy sitting on that podcast that wants to get a laugh all the time? Because I'm complete different when I'm in a different environment, mate, because that's my job in that environment.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because it's kind of two very different things. Because open goal in itself is based on like the whole idea of just having a laugh and banter and stuff like that. And I've always been like, how do they always manage to pull that out? Because sometimes I come into a podcast and I'm like, man, I'm not really up for this today. Whereas you are always there's always some part of it that makes me go, that was hilarious.
I don't know if it's because we're all mates, but we're genuine mates, eh? So I think that helps massively, because there's 4 of us there, we're kind of like slagging each other. We can all take a slagging, we can all give a slagging. So I think that plays a major part in it. Like I say, for the bus, that when I go up to Peterhead, mate, when there's 5 of us on that bus, it's probably a bit, if you could film that bus, some of the things that get said on that, guys like Dale Lyle, Gary Fraser, Conroy, Scott Brown, funny guys. Again, in that environment, mate, I love having a laugh. But when it gets to the football environment, and that's what I always try to say on it and go, and to the boys, there's a time, like, see in the dressing room when I'm setting up training, or when you're on the bus, I want you to have a great atmosphere, I want you to have a laugh and a joke. But like I say, for the 2 hours that we're here, there needs to be a standard that every single one of us are on it in training. I'm intense, I'm demanding when I coach. I know it's complete different from when I'm on open goal. And as I say, I wouldn't be surprised if the boys, some of the boys probably think I'm a prick at Peterhead. It wouldn't surprise me. But as I say, it's no popularity contest for me in that job. That job, I'm there to make them better players. They might not see it now, but in the long term, I do think they'll look back and think, try to make us a better player, a better person. And not just standards in football, but standards in life, that no matter what you do, when you turn up, you do it to the best you can. And we're slowly getting there with Peterhead. I'm going to make, I think we'll do really well next year. Kind of went for last year, I think we're close to maybe going down. This year we've been comfortable staying in the league. Next year we need to make a real big push at getting in the playoffs and trying to go up. Because you can't be happy just, as I say, just staying there. Because the boys we've genuinely got players that I believe, and the majority of them could go and play higher. But there must be a reason why they're playing at this level. And for me, it all comes down to standards. So if we can get these standards up with and give them that freedom to go and make mistakes, along with their natural ability, I think a lot of them could go and play higher. And that's my goal. My goal is to obviously do well for Peterhead, but it's to make these guys go higher, go and be the best that they can be. So fingers crossed that next year we can go and have a good season, and they could all get moves higher up. That must be like the most satisfying thing about it, though, because you're talking about your experience in career and how you experienced lows and how it changed everything that you were thinking about it. But like that must being able to actually relay those experiences and be like, this is what you need to do to get here. This is what you need to do to get to the top. But it's not an enjoyable experience because people hate you. Yeah, people don't like you because I'll give you an example. So four guys that play for us, aged between 21 and 24, who are all good football players, by the way. All good football players, and again, I say about standards, they turned up 17 minutes late for a game. We were playing Partick Thistle, bearing in mind it's coming towards the end of the season, we need to win games to try and get in the playoffs to go up, but also watch that we didn't get dragged into the playoffs to go down, and they turned up 17 minutes late for a game. And after the game I absolutely slaughtered them. And they never spoke to me for 2 weeks, so that's not enjoyable. It's not enjoyable in the fact that they obviously think I'm a prick. But again, I'm not doing it for me, I'm doing it for them. They need to understand that no matter whether it's a football game or you're turning up for you can't turn up 17 minutes late for anything, never mind a football match. So it isn't enjoyable because, again, it would be great if you could go out and be a guy who was the kind of coach that, I want to be their mate all the time, but I don't want to be like that. As I say, that's not coaching for me. Coaching for me is making them understand what they need to do to get better. So enjoyable when you see them go and play on a Saturday and you say, fucking hell, look at how he's popping the ball, but things we've done in training, that's enjoyable. But in terms of the process, mate, at times it can be, you sit and think, fuck, is this worth it? 4 boys not speaking to you for 2 weeks because you've absolutely slaughtered them in front of everyone. But that's just the way you need to be. Those are the kind of things that either are going to make you or break you, though, when it comes to football. In times like you're talking about the canio and how, if I was 17 minutes late for Paolo Canio, I wouldn't have played. I'm telling you, because I said that to the boys. If it was me in charge, I'd have sent you. I'd make you drove right back to Glasgow. 17 minutes is on it. I can accept 1 or 2 minutes with traffic and for 5 minutes here and there. But 17 minutes, I can't accept that. You're underprepared. We've got to beat 3-0. Again, as I say, it's no rocket science. If you're underprepared, the results will come out in the end. We've got to beat 3-0, and I've no doubt that was a big part of it. So it's just drumming that into them constantly. But again, they must think, shut the fuck up for 2 minutes. But it's what I think they need, so that's why I do it. But mate, with Paolo Di Canio, 17 minutes later, you're getting gripped up. You're getting gripped up at 100%.
He must have been really intense to actually just have to deal with that every week.
But why shouldn't he be? Because he's had these standards.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that he's doing that because he's played at the top level, so he knows the kind of what it takes to get there. Like when you look at all the top players, there's no way that there's like top players in the world that are just kind of half-arsing it. You can't do that. It's impossible.
No, well, it's why guys like Ozil and that didn't play at the top level. I've no doubt. I always says to my mates who I argue with constantly in the pub, mate, I've no doubt Mesut Ozil's probably one of the most. They say no, he's no. Mesut Ozil will be one of the most talented top 5 players in the world. He's playing for Fenerbahce in the Turkish league.
That's it, mate.
Why? Why is it Arteta's fault? Is it Arsene Wenger's fault? Is it every other manager at Hudham's fault? Nah, he doesn't work hard enough. He's not prepared. He should be playing for Barcelona, Real Madrid every week, but he's not. He's playing for Fenerbahce, and there's a reason to that. So, again, what we talk about Celtic this year in terms of, I'm speculating here, but if you were to look at the work rate between the two teams, I think there would be a mass difference.
Well, see, to be honest, you can see that as well. Like, see, as a fan, you're watching the team and you're going, what has happened here? I almost can't believe it, because it's like, how can you go for the only way you go for winning 4 trebles in a row to this season is a drop in standards, a drop in.
But then you also probably done a, you kind what's the word I'm looking for here? Again, as I told you, I'm shit with words. You kind of relate to the pressure that they were under.
Yeah. Well,
because as we
10
say,
was so big.
when you're going for 10, we said the worst thing you could probably do is worry about making mistakes. When you're going for something so big, I do think that could possibly come in it. I'm not wanting to be the guy that mistakes here and loses 10 in a row. And I think once you get that, everything goes. Your concentration goes, your thinking goes, where should I be? Because you're so worried about making mistakes, because there's something so big on the line. Again, what we're talking about football is, in life, is mental.
Yeah.
It's a mental thing. It is. Believe me, the best players I've seen are the ones that are mentally tough. And I think, as I say, no many of us could understand the kind of mental pressure they must have been under to go and get that 10 in a row and how it could affect you. So I think that also plays a big part in what happened this year as well.
No, definitely, and it's just from like a Celtic point of view, it's frustrating to watch. You're like, oh man, because the thing is as well is you get to a point where I think as it was going on, I was kind of like, oh, it's lucky, it's just because of the COVID thing, it's all this and that. But then you start going, they're 20 points clear, and you know what I mean, and you go.
But I think if you look at Juventus, they've won 9 trophies in a row, and they were going for 10 in a row for the first time, and they've completely exploded
exactly,
as well.
like,
so again, they're no bad players. They've not turned into bad players undernight. They're not undercoached. Exactly. So it's alright saying blaming people and stuff like that, but I also think that mental pressure of trying to get something so big, it plays a massive part.
No, it definitely is. And see, as you're talking about Ozil, and it just made me think about the big clubs like the Barca's and Reals, and I was just thinking, like, what did you make of that whole Super League thing? Because I was like, it just seems mental, but like they were all.
But you're not surprised, are you? Like, because football is at the top level. It's all about money, innit? It's all about greed and money, and the rich staying richer and no caring about which football should never be, because it's what made it so great is that it was a working class sport. And even again, you're thinking about the Super League, right? Everyone's talking about the Super League, and there's guys I know in Castlemont that can't get a pitch open, sitting locked up, and they can't get kids on to play football.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And you go from that to that, and that's what we should be looking at. Is why is that happening? Why can we not get kids in Castlemont playing on a football pitch every day? Why is it sitting there? What do you want? Money? Mm-hmm. You want money for kids that can't afford to eat to go and play football? Open the gate and let the boys play. And that's what should be getting looked at in Scotland. No, say like in Rangers moving to England. Let's look at trying to get kids playing more kids, scheme kids playing football, and give them that opportunity that maybe richer kids get now, to go and pay 30 quid to a guy for a 1v1. I see these coaches now doing 1-on-1s charging 30 quid, and there's scheme kids sitting in the house that can't go and play football because their mum's not got a fiver open to go to a sports centre. That's where Scottish football is going wrong. Where's that getting looked at? We talk at you should be getting more light as well, but where's the platforms for this sort of stuff?
Yeah, Powerchair football. Yeah. No, it's that's it, because you're spot on, because that's what's creating the gap's getting bigger, because like you've got the working class are less able to play the sport, and then obviously you've got everybody's getting richer, so the middle gap is just becoming more like bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Even when I was talking about playing goals, we used to, one of my biggest things that was really put me in a downer was we'd go to these football pitches. There was a football pitch like round the corner of my house, and the gate would be shut. But my pals were able to climb the fence.
Climb the fence,
So I would just be like there was one day where like a wee bit of the gate, a wee bit of the fence had broke, and there was like a wee hole, and I squeezed through the hole and just left my chair just sitting there. Like,
did you?
I just left it. Just sitting. There was a guy walked past and just seen the chair there, and he was like, "What the fuck's going on here, man?" But no, it was one of those things where like you get there and you're like, they're all getting in. Why can't they just open the gate? And you just felt so. But that was years ago, man.
That's infuriating, mate. It's infuriating.
And the fact it's still going on, like I drive past the pitch every day, and you're like, it's empty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You see people having to play on ash and stuff like that.
Do you ever get a reason to why they're not open? Does it ever?
It just seems like there's the whole thing is just money. It all just comes down to money, and it's like.
But do you not think about in the long term future that if you're thinking about money, that if these guys, if we open the gates for them and they go and make it as football players, then they'll generate more money for Scotland.
Exactly.
Is that never thought about in the long term goal now?
That's it. I mean, see even when they made the Astro pitches before that, it was just a grass field. So we'd go on the grass field and just kick the ball about.
Yeah.
But as soon as they made an Astro pitch, everyone wanted to be on the Astro pitch, and yet they shut the gate. So we'd all still be going there, but we'd have less space to play.
Yeah. And
you're like, why do you not just keep the gate? What's even the point of making it if you can't play in it?
I know.
It just sits there like most of the time, and that was. And there was the woman that had the keys would come down and be like, "What have you done to this fence? And why? How are you even in here?" Like, and it's like, just let us play football, man. Because there's too much. I think there's too much of like people are too degrading towards people. Like, there's the whole idea of like Neds and stuff, and people that are going to ruin things.
I don't think Neds exist anymore.
I know.
I've never seen. But bring back Neds, man.
Exactly.
I've never seen Neds. I walked through Rudbury and never see any Neds hanging about. It's crazy. What's happened to them?
Where did they went?
Where did they went?
Because we used to play.
They're doing podcasts, isn't they?
They're doing podcasts.
Sitting in the house
Exhibit A, mate. Class A, this and here.
But that's what I mean. Like, I might be completely wrong here, but like you said, I don't see kids causing trouble anymore. I see when you're younger, mate. There used to be certain areas that you'd be shit scared to walk through in case you got jumped or somebody gave you a bit or chased you. But I think genuinely kids now want to do well in life, eh? You know, when you see kids, I think they're all more interested in making money and looking good, more nice, than actually going about fighting and stuff like that. So give them the opportunity, the best opportunity we can. Like we say, open the football pitches, let them go and practice 24 hours a day. Because ultimately, that's the only way you're going to be a football player. Because the guys see the kids in Holland. I went to a tournament in Holland about 4 years ago. Ajax coach was fascinating, mate. Sat and spoke to him. He took under 11s. He's one of the highest paid in the youth academy because that's the most important age. They train every day, mate.
Every day, aye.
Whereas up here, what do your kids train? My boys' team trains one night a week. We play it, mate. We kid on it, we play it. The kids should be playing football from the minute they get home from school to the minute they go to bed. If that's what they want to do, if they want to play, see if they want to be a golfer, they should play golf. Yeah. I always say to my kids, find something that you love and you're passionate about, and do everything you can to do that for the rest of your life, because that's how you're going to be happy in life. Exactly. But see if you want, my kid says he wants to be a football player. I said, me didn't want to be a football player. Because see if you did, you beat that back garden as soon as you get in for school. Instead, you go and sit on a tablet, you'll go and play the PlayStation for a bit, and then you'll maybe jump about for 5 minutes at the back. You didn't want to be a football player. I wanted to be a football player. I was at the back from morning to night.
Yeah, you have
and so I said, didn't tell me you want to be a football player. Show me you want to be a football player. But I also think my kids got the opportunities to do that because we've got a back garden. But there is kids out there who genuinely have got that love, that want to go and play all the time. They want to go down to a pitch and the gate's shut. So let these kids go and get in if they're not going to have money to go and try and go to university or whatever it is you need money, go and let them try and be a football player.
For sure, yeah.
Give them the best possible chance of doing it.
Because even going back to like Powerchair football, like you need to play that in a hall, right? So when you look at the actual sessions, it's always like the Scotland sessions are like once every month or maybe every couple of months, just because it's like so hard to book a hall and stuff like that. But see, as a player, you always get these players that are wanting to improve, but the halls aren't available, and I've got a local sports.
So how are you meant to get better?
Yeah, and you're like, you get these guys that are desperate to play and train all the time, and the access isn't there because you either need to have like pay a certain amount of a membership every week, basically, and it's like you're skinning yourself to try and play because they have it booked where you can only book it for like a 5-a-side thing.
Yeah.
And so you're relying on everybody chipping in for that. But if you're wanting to train yourself, you're having to pay like 30 quid to book a hall every day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it even comes back to, so every sport has an element of, why are we not making this more accessible?
Accessible, yeah, definitely, mate.
See, even in my whole life, everything's been about, see the whole disability thing, the reason why it's been that big thing for me isn't even because of how I seen it. It was because it was kind of shoved in my face by the lack of access and how everything was. There was just so many stairs, no ramps and no lifts. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're like, I can do all these things if you could just make it. If you could make it accessible,
Give it a chance here.
Exactly. Like I wouldn't even feel like I was in a wheelchair if that had all been thinged, because there was times I'd go. I would go.
So that adds to your struggle, the fact that there's nothing that.
100%, mate. Like.
Then you do start to think, I'm different. I can't get about the same way other people get.
That's it, mate. Because see for the first when I was early on in school, when I was up to about 13 or something, I'd never even really realised I was in a chair, and it was only till you kind of start talking to people in high school and that, and you can't, and they're like, oh, you're going to come to this gaff, and you've got a gaff and it's got like 20 stairs to get up to, and you're like, oh man. So you start getting alienated by out of the social circle, and it just makes everything difficult. Like we just, that was why my whole high school experience was terrible, mate. I remember going to a nightclub, and it was like, you get there, and this was one of the stupidest things I've ever done in my life, right? But there was like 2 flights of stairs to get down it, and the bouncer was like, look, if you can get down, you can go in, but I can't help you, there's nothing I can do about it. And that particular night, there was a group of us, and like, there was this lassie I was grafting, and I was like, hey, get in here, man. Like, so I was like, I said to the guys, listen, mate, I can crawl down here. I can crawl down these steps if you can take this chair down. It's like, so I crawled down these like 2 flights of stairs, mate.
But other people would be embarrassed to do that, mate. Other people would have turned back around and went back out.
I was shitting myself because I was a wee bit like, this is going to be, people are going to be like, what's going on here? But I was also like, see in my head, I was like, listen, I'm here and I want to get down. If you're going to let me down, I'll crawl down the stairs. And I ended up sitting, so they put me on this couch in the club, and my wheelchair was still like I hadn't even brought it in yet. So it would be funny because people would come in and they would just think you're just a normal guy. And you're like, and they were like,
but you're a normal guy sitting down.
I know, but like it'd be funny when they're like, can you go get me a drink? And I was like, no.
He's a rude bastard, him, man. Not even going to get us a drink.
He was like, you're trying to chat me up and you won't get a drink. I'm like, it's going to take me a while.
So did you get the bird?
Well, it was.
You never got a bird.
I didn't get in until I was about 21 and I'm 24, so that tells you what it is. But like,
but I'll tell you what, you're quite a handsome guy. I'll tell you what you should do, too. I think maybe shave the sides a wee bit shorter and higher on the hair. Wee bit out of the side a wee bit more.
You think so? I've got one of those. Mate, I'm going to be bald in a few years. Who are we kidding?
I know, but Jude Law's like that, and he's still pulling it off, isn't he?
I think I'm probably better looking than Slaney.
Do you think so? Slaney is. Do you know what? Slaney's deceivingly handsome. My missus thinks Slaney's a bit. Is
that not awkward, mate?
Do you know what he's got? He's got a great he's got great posture, and he's got a good presence about him, Slaney.
Aye, I mean,
he's got nice big legs, much bigger legs than me.
Well,
he's a proper manly guy, Slaney. Like he's sturdy. Do you know what I mean?
Aye, he's definitely got better legs than me for sure. But like overall, the thing is that like, I think probably if he's getting hundreds of DMs, mate, I mean, if you compare,
no, we can't put that on.
If you compare, but if you compare the two of us, like, I mean, if you think about it, like I've got to a higher level of football. Do you know what I mean?
I've got to a higher level. Get a quick pose to the camera, because there might be young ladies watching. You got a bird?
No.
Might be young ladies watching it, so give them a full front face. Give them a full face. What is it, a full frontal? There you go.
Full frontal. No, I'm as single as they get, mate, and I'm happy with that at the moment. So,
you on Tinder?
Aye.
Is it good?
It has been kind to me, aye.
Oh, is that right?
But I mean, to be honest, I met my ex through Tinder, and that was like, we ended up together for like 3 years, and that was
for how long? 60 years?
3 years, mate.
Oh, 3 years.
That was my cerebral palsy coming through there.
3 years, right?
It was 3 years, but it probably went 2.5 years too long. So
really, right?
So it was one of those kind of ones where that kind of made me a little bit more cautious.
So how long you been single?
Since about just before the pandemic, I think November.
Right.
Before the pandemic started. So
is that a good time or a bad time to be single?
I think it was, mate, if I was with her during the pandemic, I don't know what would happen to me. I would have been doing this for sure.
Nah.
Anyway. But because it was just, we were too opposite. I think you can meet the wrong people in the put you down the wrong direction.
Yeah.
I mean, if she's listening to this, it was great and all that, but like, just didn't go to plan, you know what I mean? And I think, mate, do you know what is weird for me is like, most of my life I was just desperate for any bud to like me because I was so insecure about the wheelchair and shit.
Whereas now you could be that wee bit more picky because you're self-assured. Good, mate.
I think because basically I just needed somebody to pure fancy me, and when I got that, after I got that, I was like, yeah, I can do this now. You know what I mean? I know what I'm doing. Whereas high school was more like just years of just kind of getting put down and sort of looking at yourself in not a very good way. So it's good to be there. I did that and.
I tell you what, you're good at this as well. You've not shut the fuck up since I got here.
I mean,
I'm kidding. No, but I'm saying you are good at this. Like, I even look back when I used to do that thing all the time, man. I was terrible at doing interviews, fucking hopeless, man. But then looked at it and thought, how can I get about that? Do you notice that? I used to do that all the time. I used to get slaughtered for it. It's like, what the fuck's that noise you keep making? But you're good at it, mate. Yeah,
thanks.
Got a good way about you.
I mean, the thing is, there's so many podcasts out where you can take things from people. And, like learn this. Like, I think.
But don't take too much as well. Stick to being that your own person.
I think the biggest thing for me was just making sure that I wasn't interrupting anyone, and like making sure that like, you're letting them. I know I've talked a lot. Actually,
no, but you've never interrupted us. Now you've done that well.
But it's like letting the conversation flow and not. I think a lot of people struggle to actually listen to people. Like, it's easy to talk all the time, but see when you're saying something, see if you say something to me and then I just go and I just totally change the subject and don't acknowledge what you said, how do you know that I was listening to anything you said? Do you know what I mean? It's like,
what, you taught me Celtic this year?
No, like
I've just changed the subject. No, but I know what you're saying. But sometimes you're listening to somebody and you just find yourselves on it and you were like, what the fuck did he just say there? What's my next question again? It's tough, mate. People, again, what we say, people think you're just sitting there and you're getting a laugh in it, but it's hard. It's hard graft, isn't it?
When Hartson came in, man, I was pure like, do you know what I mean?
He's a great guy, John, isn't he?
He's a brilliant guy. He's a brilliant guy. He's actually said to me that I should start a petition for the Celtic Rangers Powerchair football team to start, and then I talked to the foundation about it, and they were like, "Don't start a petition. We'll look at it. We'll look at
really?
it."
Right. What better guy than having John?
Exactly. He was dead keen on it, but what was funny with him was he was like, you picture people, like even yourself, you get this idea of people like that's.
I'm a prick.
Not so much that you just feel kind of like you watch them and you see them and you think to yourself, oh, they're probably not going to be the same as me. They're probably going to be too big for me to deal with. And then it was like 5 minutes into it, I'm like, oh, he's just a normal guy. Do you know what I mean?
Mate, I've always said this as well. It doesn't matter whether it's the top player in the world. Everyone's got the same fears, thoughts, worries. Everyone does. Whether you're sitting in a big 9-bedroom house or whether you're sitting in a 1-bedroom flat, everyone's the same, man. We all worry about things and we all care about what people think about us. Deep down we do. But people say, oh, I don't give a fuck. They do. We all go through the same thing, mate. So I don't think you should ever put yourself there compared to somebody else up there, because at the end of the day we're all grafting to try and make a living, man. That's it. At the end of the day, do you know what I mean? We're all working to get nice things out of life, and we're all the same.
I think this is what, see with him, it was a good lesson for me, because I feel like I was just so like, there was times when he was talking, he would make a big long point, and I think I said about 5 words in that podcast. But
that's a good podcast, mate.
It was great.
See, when I don't want to talk. I want them to talk.
Exactly.
I want them to make my job as easy as possible. See, if I can only say 5 words every interview, I'd fucking take it right now.
No, it's brilliant.
Because people are not tuning to see me; they're tuning to see the guy that I've got sitting across me. So the more he can say, the better. But
my problem was, I was kind of, when he was talking, I would be like, I can't believe John Hartson's here, man, sitting in front of me, and then he would finish talking, and I'd be like, what am I going to say? What am I going to say him next?
But see, what I would do even with that, I would just say, listen, John, fuck, sorry, I've lost it, and I'm too busy thinking about you being on my podcast. You know what I mean? I would just be totally truthful. If that happens to you, I always think, just say it. Well, by the way, I've lost my place. Again, people think that's terrible. It's not terrible. It's normal. It's what people do in everyday life. If anyone else was a normal person, who pulled the 2 workies off the street, Celtic fans, sat in there, brung John Hartson in here, drink, they'd be able to sit and they'll be like we are. We're all the same, mate. As I say,
right.
Everyone's the same.
It's true, because see, even though I was thinking that, I remember the questions I wrote down, so I had them on my head, and I was able to just sort of just jump to the next question, because he was very much in like that kind of, he's got that sort of media personality, but he just knows what to say and the right answers to things. But it was a good thing of realising that, like, you don't need to feel that, you can just kind of just say it and just go on with it. I feel like.
But I bet if you were to say, "Oh, by the way, John, I've just fucked up there. I forgot what my next question is. I'm too busy listening to you."
Yeah.
Mate, that probably you probably would have came out of that media mode. Do you know what I mean? And just probably had a mere laugh.
That's a good point.
I always think. As I say, didn't try and be someone that you think you need to be.
Aye.
If you fuck up, you just hold your hands and say, "By the way, I fucked up here." I think people like that, eh? I really do. I think, again, guests, I've done that loads of times, mate. Fucked up here, I need to stop for 2 minutes. Because they fuck up as well. I've put out big names, I'm not going to tell you who, but told a story and they're like, oh fuck, that story was a load of shite, actually, take that out. And we just start again and go again, but do you know what I mean? It's like, there's no set way of doing things that you need to be this quick, right, it needs to go for that question to that question. Just relax and enjoy it, innit? That's what I always think as well. And gone are the days where I worry about how I act on an interview. Just enjoy it, enjoy whatever comes naturally. But you do this with any questions, mate, which is amazing. I need fucking idiot-proof questions this size so that I can see what I'm going to say next. You've done this with no questions, which is brilliant.
Well, I mean, I appreciate that because my main thing is everybody tells me that I've always been chatty, basically.
Yeah.
So I just know that as soon as it gets flowing, I can talk like this. You know, I can talk all day. I think that's why I wanted to do it, because I was like, if I can make an impact by just talking the way that I would normally talk anyway, then that's great. Do you know what I mean? Like, I
always do need bullet. I just take bullet points, so just to have a wee look, just to make sure I'm.
Don't get me wrong, mate. Before you were in here, I was on my phone scanning.
In fact, what's that writing on your hand, Dan?
I was like, Paul signed it. No, it's I'll be running rings around him apparently. No, but I don't see, the thing is as well is like, see, for somebody like you, it feels like that's what you kind of thrive in, is just sort of having a conversation, and that was like the whole. See, when I started doing it, my whole idea was obviously I have a specific message I want to put across with, which is mainly the main reason why I spoke like some part of this. But I think that the priority is to make it where people enjoy listening to the conversation. Yeah.
Oh, you need to love talking to do this. 100%.
Exactly.
Like when I played it, I was obsessed with older players and who I played with. I'd always make a point of sitting next to them in the dressing room. Always pick their brains, mate, constantly. They must have been so fed. We had a guy, David Conley, who played at Portsmouth. Fucking what a player he was. Played at World Cups, Ireland, played at West Ham, teams like that. And one day, I think he'd only been at Portsmouth for a couple of months, he's like, are you going to shut the fuck up? Like, he actually got to the stage where he's like, mate, stop asking me questions, man. But like, that's why we did it, because I love finding out about people, eh? But whether it's David Conley or you just like chatting to people, don't you? And that's what I'm saying. I think that's going in the younger generation with the phones and I find myself as well sometimes now sitting in the house and I'm like, I've been sitting on this fucking Twitter. I'm not saying a word to my kids for about 2 hours, man. Like, what the fuck's happened?
Aye.
So, guys like you're a dying breed, mate. What age are you?
24, mate.
You could be taking over this for the next 10 years, mate. None of the younger generation are going to be able to do what you can do, sit and chat to people. So, big things coming, mate.
I hope so. I mean, that's quite a compliment coming for you. I'm doing my best with it, and we're 38. This is going to be number 38, so we're still early into it, and I'm just going to I'll keep plugging away, and I'll keep getting better at it.
That's it. Keep doing it until you didn't join them. Like 38 took us ages to get to be. I think I'd done it for about a year, mate. When no money, just plugging along. Do you know what I mean? It'll only take maybe one interview or one thing to happen where you get that wee break.
Who knows? Maybe it'll be me going past line in the chair. That
you could be the hosting. Mate, Open Goal might bin me after this, and you'll be hosting. I'll be sitting watching you in the house.
I don't know if I'd be doing that, but I could definitely come on and chat some shit if you want. I mean, the thing about it is, for me, it's all about like actually the actual name, All About Ability, comes from like being the word disability and how. It's actually, the word ability is actually in the word disability, and I always felt like disability was something that was used in a really negative way, where you look at it and you go, as soon as somebody's called disabled, it means they're sort of like less able. I mean, look at your phone, when you type your password into your phone, it comes up saying you're disabled, so in theory what it actually means is that something's broken, you don't work, but no humans like that, because there's just as much chance as you being in a chair as me being in a chair.
It's mad, isn't it? Because I bet the companies didn't realise like the effect that has on like yourself. You know what I mean? Even that simple thing, phone disabled. But it shouldn't be that. It shouldn't even.
Because I remember seeing it and being like, "Is that what I am? Am I broke? Am I broke? Like, am I the same as an iPhone being broke?" Because it's like, and that's what the whole. You know, we're not even. Nobody's ever really even discussing that. So being able to actually tell you that and have somebody like you aware of with a platform that you got is the whole point of this. is to make it so that the person that's growing up in a wheelchair, that's like doing that now, and he's in school or she's in school, and they don't have to go through the same stuff I went through. That's the whole point of it.
Well, listen to how passionate you are, mate, and how informative you are. I'm sure, I'm not just saying it, I think you will inspire people to think like that, so well done to you.
No, I appreciate that. I think, how long have we went?
We're on 40 minutes.
We've been an hour and 40 minutes.
it?
Fuck me. that didn't realise it'd been that long, man. I was like,
no, shoots in, didn't it?
that was
What time was it?
No, listen, I really appreciate you coming in and doing this, man. It was like, see, the 38, but I thought, in my head, I was like, I could probably get Si Ferry on for like 200 or something like that, do you know what I mean? So to get you on this early and be able to talk to you like this, really, it means a lot to me, man. I appreciate it.
No problem, it's been a pleasure. Really enjoyed it.
And like I says, Slaney, the challenge has been set.
There you go,
so,
Paul.
you know, if you want to...
I'm sure you'll be in touch.
I'm looking forward to it because, you know, I've got plenty of skill, mate, and it will be good to bring him down a peg or two, do you know what I mean?
I can't do it, mate, so if you can, then you're the man.
I'll see where it gets on. I think, you know, and the thing is that how embarrassing would it be, right, if Slaney couldn't put a goal past me? You know, a guy in a wheelchair, he's on his knees.
Have you seen some of the things he does, mate? I don't think he gets embarrassed about anything, Slaney, to be honest.
That's probably the wrong choice of words, but I mean, like, his claim to have been like a good footballer would be totally out the window, do you know what I mean? So
there you go, then. We'll see what he says.
We'll see how he gets on, but I had to finish on that. No, but like I said, it was a pleasure, and I will have you back on anytime you want, mate, honestly.
Top man, cheers, mate.
Brilliant.